Alright guys, Rich here from the RCNetwork, and this is going to be an unboxing of the Axial Yeti. This is their 1/10 scale electric four-wheel drive rock racer. Of course, Axial is famous for their very scaled looking RCs, and way back when they actually came out with the Exo Terra Buggy, that was one of their first fast or brushless kind of ready vehicles. Of course, they have the Wraith, the SCX-10, lots of other kind of crawler, scaler type vehicles that really weren't used to going fast. Well, of course, the Exo Terra kind of paved the way for the Yeti with its independent front suspension. So, of course, the Yeti, what makes this so unique is it has independent front suspension and a solid rear axle, which is really cool. So it definitely gives you some pretty cool scale features on this rock racer. Now, I kind of waited a little while before I decided to pick one of these up, mostly because I wanted to see what all people were doing with them and any issues that they were having with them. Now, one thing that really caught me by surprise was, I ordered this thing up, it arrived, and literally a day later, I received this in the mail. Now, this is a AXIZ 1000 service pack for 9026. So this is for the Yeti. This is going to be the wheel hubs to fix the issue that a lot of people were having with their Yeti. So I'll kind of go into detail on this a little bit later, but I will have a link to this part number in the video description so you can contact Axial if you have not received this yet for your Yeti. Now, one thing that was cool on the invoice that I received with that service pack was this right here, was that all charges have been covered under the manufacturer's warranty. Now, how often do you guys hear about a manufacturer just saying, look, we messed up, here's the fix, it's free, I'm shipping it to you, no cost. That's awesome. So really surprised to kind of see that just show up without me having to make a phone call or email or anything like that. So really happy to see that, a day later after I received this here Yeti. Now, going to go ahead and unbox this thing. Now, of course, this is not the first unboxing on YouTube, but I'm going to make it a little bit different. This whole feature vehicle, the Axial Yeti here, is going to be what I'm calling the RCNetwork versus the Axial Yeti. We're going to see what we can do with this thing here with some input from you guys, the subscribers out there in YouTube land. So what I'd like for you guys to do is to comment on what you want me to do with this Axial Yeti. What direction do we want to take it? Do we want to make this thing super fast? Do we want to make it super bulletproof? Do we want to make it crawl? What is your desire for this Axial Yeti? So this is kind of be like a viewer's choice on this particular kit. But let's go ahead and get this thing unboxed. Let's see what you get inside the box, of course, here at the RCNetwork, and kind of go from there. I'm going to go ahead and start cutting some of these seals. Now, Axial does a great job with their graphics. Of course, the color graphics here that you see, if you look over here on the flip side, they really go into detail when you're at your local hobby shop to explain all of this stuff. What comes in there? Is it 2.4 gigahertz? Is it waterproof? Is it Metal Gear? All of this stuff that's really cool. They really lay all of this out, which is just awesome. They really kind of put some good attention to detail in their boxing. And what I like to do here at the RCNetwork is I actually cut these boxes up and hang them here in the studio just to kind of appreciate the artwork here. I mean, that took a lot of effort to capture these things in flight and in kind of the running atmosphere for the Yeti. But I'm gonna go ahead and start cutting these seals open while I ramble on and on here. Lots of seals on this box. Looks like we got 3 seals just on one side. And we got a radio already. So you kind of see like a blackness in there, and that's kind of where the Yeti is lurking. Let's see if I can pull this all out in one shot. We'll see. Oh, gosh. I need smell-o-vision, guys. I had heard a couple of people comment on the smell of the tires, and oh my gosh, it's almost lethal. I remember this specifically with the Axial Exo Terra that I had done a while back, and There's that smell again. There's some serious rubber here at the RC Network Studios. But looks like I got this like all black box. I'm gonna see if I can pull the box out of the way here and expose the Yeti. Now, a little bit bigger than I was expecting. I've seen one up close before, but you know, when you get it here in the studio and you kind of look at it, it always looks different. So you can kind of see it looks like kind of like a school bus right there. It kind of looks kind of cool. Black box, but we're going to take this off. I really appreciate all of the effort that some of these companies have went through to not zip tie the crap out of their cars and the box. So definitely appreciate that. We're going to set this thing off to the side. Wow, that's awesome. So, of course, we get our owner's manual, which looks to be somewhat different from some of the previous Axial kits that I've had. But nonetheless, very nice that they're including that. We do get a 2.4 gigahertz radio. This is going to be the typical kind of fly sky looking ones. I've had probably 10 of these here now at the RC Network, and they're always good. I mean, for an RTR radio, they're always very, very nice. I think this is the AX3 is what they're calling it. That's the Axial branding. They put their stickers and whatnot on there. Nice flip up antenna, of course, drop down wheel. You have all of your controls inside of this kind of iridescent kind of little cover there. On-off switch on the bottom side right here. You have spot for 4 AA's, which is really nice. But that's the radio. Always a good radio, and you know, it gets you started here. So let's go ahead and see what else comes in the package. You get, you know, of course, Axial gives you lots of parts, and I always love that because some of these parts are definitely useful. I can already see there's some extra body posts, and there's fans, and there looks to be some actual some tools in there. So very nice that they're including all those. Lots of extra little parts and whatnot. Some rod ends. So very, very nice. So, but let's get to what we all came here for, and that is this Axial Yeti right here. God, that's a nice stink bug look to it. Look at that thing. So really nice. I mean, of course, the paint scheme I love. You know, blue is one of my favorite colors here at the RC Network, and it's just really cool. I definitely dig the white, blue, and black scheme that it has. The cool, real scale exhaust feature right there. Of course, you have the drivers inside. You know, size-wise, these 2.2 wheels and tires are just they're massive. You can already hear the click of the 32-pitch gears in there, so that's pretty cool. We have the all aluminum shocks. I mean, it just looks cool. I'm going to go ahead and move the camera around here so we can see it a little bit better and kind of go in depth on what you get. All right, back now, and I went ahead and kind of got things moved around here so you guys could see a little bit better here as a fly lands right there on my Yeti. Get out of here. So, you know, one thing that the Exo Terra kind of was plagued with was the cage system. Well, Axial has kind of addressed that here with the Yeti. 2 body pins, if you remove those 2, like I'd have here, this whole thing lifts up so you can get to everything inside the Yeti and kind of work on it, and also, you know, replace the battery, you know, work on the motor, check the pinion, all that good stuff. So really nice that they've kind of included that feature here. Now, if you do go ahead and remove the rear tabs, which are actually pretty nice, they give you these little pull tabs. So nice little added feature here. These little pull tabs, you know, you can go ahead and remove those, and you have complete body off in only those 2 pins. So pretty cool. What makes the Axial Yeti so unique is, of course, the independent front suspension that you'll find on, you know, slash 4x4s and pretty much every short course truck out there. Of course, the Exo Terra is what really kind of paved the way for this, because you're using the hubs and the knuckles and the arms and everything from the Exo Terra. Now, the back here has this kind of like, it's almost like a praying mantis almost. It has this kind of really long travel feature, super long shocks, and really is very unique to the Yeti here. Now, some things I did want to mention as far as the electronics, of course, a 3150 kV motor. You have a Castle Creations looking SV3 is what I believe it is, but it's all branded by Vanguard. So this is 3S capable, so you can go ahead and drop a 3S LiPo in there with no issues. 2S is going to be probably optimal. You may not have as much speed and torque until you get to the 3S version. So you do have aluminum bodied threaded shocks right here with adjustable deals. Very, very nice shocks. Looks like they've really kind of upgraded those. You do have plastic caps and other plastic bits and pieces on it, which is okay. That's okay to have some plastic on RCs. You have a completely sealed transmission here, which is really nice. Sealed spur. Everything looks to be very kind of sealed inside of there to make it all waterproof. You do have a waterproof receiver box here that seems to be very sealed, very nice. Very nice feature as well. On down the line here, let's see. We have a Tactic metal geared servo. Looks to be 151 ounces of torque is what I believe I read. You have some warning labels right there if you want to check that out. But God, this thing just looks cool. Big 2.2-inch wheels and tires. Has the branding of the Crawler TA from BF Goodrich. So some licensing went into getting these things on this Axial Yeti. So very cool design. I mean, really beefy tread. These are definitely great tires. I plan to run these things stock and see how they do. Definitely have that kind of hissing sound right there. So you have some air movement. Now, what I was talking about with that little service pack, now the stock Yeti rides just on a pin. Well, some issues with the rear and some issues have kind of popped up. So they went ahead and sent you an SLW style little hub to be mounted on to your wheels. And what that does is it gives you the correct offset. It also gives you some of these black aluminum hexes right here to ride on the hex now instead of just riding on the pin. So that's pretty cool. I can't really wait to get this thing going. This thing is going to be really cool. It comes with Dean's plug right out of the box. That's always nice that I don't have to cut off a Tamiya plug. Looks to be dog bones and the front right here. You have some plastic non-adjustable turnbuckles. We may have to address that later on down the line. But God, this thing is just cool. Can't wait to get this thing going and really see what it can do. And of course, with Axial, the best thing about Axial is there's so much aftermarket parts to really get these things going and get them just making them your own. So can't wait to do that with this Yeti. I know that there's lots of parts out there from different partners in the industry. Of course, Vanquish is one of the front runners out there with some of their good quality parts. But that's it, guys. If you have any questions about this unboxing, feel free to post that in the video description. Now, like I mentioned earlier, feel free to go ahead and comment down below on what angle you want me to take with this Axial Yeti. I will definitely take all of your input into consideration and kind of make it our own here at the RC Network. Well, guys, that's it for this unboxing of the Axial Yeti. Questions, comments on down below, and as always, thumbs up and subscribe. That's it for now, guys. Over and out.